The Flabonga Monthrothacube. With Dale and Tony breaking all the rules. Talking tech, biz, and straight up chaos. Quick fire guests, oh yeah, we slay those.
Good afternoon. My name is Dale Rodriguez, and this is Flabonga Monthrothacube. With me today, I've got my awesome guest.
Hi, I'm Sam King from XFE and from Woodrow.
Hey, Sam. Thank you for being here.
No, it's great to be here and hopefully not get grilled too much, to be fair. But yeah, I look forward to it.
I mean, I don't think I'm known for grilling, unless someone says something really daft, really daft. I'll question. I don't grill people. Like, imagine this, Sam. Imagine if I invited people that I know in my industry to come talk to me, or people like out of my industry and I like and I know and talk to, and I started grilling them like Jeremy Paxman. Would they come on the show? They would not.
Probably there might be the odd person who kind of enjoys that, but yeah, I'd probably take the point. To be fair, it's probably biting the hand that feeds you a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, no one will come on the show if I'm a douchebag. All right, let's get started. So the problem I have with this show sometimes is I've been doing it so long. I speak to people I know well, know you fairly well. I forget that people in the audience may not know you. So Sam, you said you work for XFE and Thorn Woodry. What is XFE and what is Thorn Woodry?
Yeah, no, valid questions to be fair there. So we're a firm of accountants and auditors called Thorn Woodry, based in Herefordshire. We've got 3 offices and about 60 team members. So we're large enough to understand some of the challenges with accounting firms, but not a huge kind of firm compared to some. And XFE is short for Xero for Education. So as part of our experience with the audit side of things with schools, we saw an opportunity and frustrations with the systems they were using. So we gave Xero a go probably about 7 or 8 years ago now. And we built bespoke software to go alongside Xero as it's in the app marketplace really. So that's kind of my 9 to 5 job in terms of the XFE side of things. Then outside of hours, it's almost I'm a hobbyist when it comes to the fintech, and I'm one of these saddos, or I'd call it enthusiasts, right? One of these enthusiasts who love kind of looking to see what's new and what's out there as well.
Okay, but hold on. You do it for work. You don't do it all the time outside of work. You've got other things to do. You said hobbyist, enthusiast. What hobbies do you have outside of work? Come on, Sam. Work-life balance.
So I've got 2 young children. So they're not a hobby, obviously.
You've got 2 children.
Yeah, 2 children. So 2 girls.
Which one's your favourite?
Depends what day of the week it is. So Monday to Friday it's child A, and child B is probably the weekends. I'm not going to name which is which.
No, of course
and
not.
they might interchange throughout the week in terms of A and B as well. But they're only the 2 girls, age 4 and 2. So it's generally there's different challenges every day, from the smallest kind of tantrum through to some quite pleasurable moments as well.
I mean, it is kind of cool when your kids come up to you with no agenda and tell you they love you. Sometimes they do it with an agenda, but when they tell you, Daddy, I love you, and you're like, oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
My eldest, so she'd be in bed in the morning and said, oh, can we watch something on the phone? On the weekends, might let her do it, but it's very much the case, I'll be really good today, and we know as soon as she has screen time in the morning, she's not good, so it's just trying to let her down gently. But they've not yet reached that phase, I don't think, where they come up to you with a premeditated, I love you, but I need this at the moment on that thing. But other hobbies as well. It's football's my kind of passion, really. I used to play, but not at a high level as such, but I used to play, and now just watch my local team when I can, really.
What position did you play?
Well, you could probably work out from the forehead and from the size of my head, a centre half, so centre back basically, because I used to love heading the ball, which may or may not have a correlation with my slightly wacky thoughts at times.
That's fair enough. And you said you support your local team. Who's your local team?
Hereford Football Club, basically. So we'll probably swiftly move on from that, if I'm honest. It's been a bit of a train crash when it comes to the season this year.
I'm not going to tease you for that. I support Tranmere Rovers. So.
Oh gosh, so that's.
Oh gosh,
no, it's. I know this. I know for a fact that this season I'm a bit of a football nerd, to be fair, and I think your fans weren't too happy at Notts County on, was it Saturday? I saw something about the fans deliberately stayed behind just to give the players a hard time, which we saw the same. Actually, we recently sacked our manager, but we won 5-2 last night against Chester, so that was a big
Nice.
big positive.
Nice. So, right, football, kids, Xero for education. Let's talk business for a little bit. You've done something quite rare. You are an accounting firm that's built a fintech product, which I don't think many have, if any. How did that come about?
So I guess it came about because there was a pain point, right? So that there's a few firms that have done it normally because of practice tools. So, for example, Jonathan Gaunt with the socket side of things and all those
Yep.
bits where
Yep.
he's obviously seen the issue with his firm and he's developed something there. I know that other solutions have come off the back of pain from Australian firms in the Xero ecosystem, but it was more basically around the fact that we saw that there are a few things Xero couldn't do for schools. And let's face it, I could put a list of feature requests, etc., to Xero, but they're not really going to. They might listen, but they're not going to develop it because it's literally drop in the ocean compared to their market as such. So yeah, we decided, let's give it a go. We'd already had a developer actually on the team, which is really rare for an accounting firm anyway, especially of the size we were. And we kind of did almost like a patch version of a few bits and then kind of went from there, really. So it was more to enable the clients were compliant initially because that was the biggest fear of adoption.
Cool. Sorry, need to give a shout out to the chat. Marcus Batson's in there. Afternoon, chaps. What up, Marcus? We like Marcus, friend of the show. And I'm going to segue into a shameless plug and promotion. First of all, I'm going to turn this banner on. Look at that. Boom. Don't know if people know this, but we have a Patreon. I never mention it because I don't want to seem needy, but it kind of makes sense. If you like what we do and you want to support us financially, FM, check out Patreon. I'm going to put a little message in the chat. Do that. Comments. Is that gone? That's gone. There you go. Check us out. Give us some money. Maybe we can up the production value. Maybe we can meet Sam in person. That'd be cool.
Scary thought for some people, yeah.
Well, hear me out. Here's my logic, right? If we do it in person, we can spend a bit more time talking, not just an hour. We can then edit it, right?
Yeah.
So you can look really, really, really good. I mean, we'll obviously keep some of the dumb
I'll-
stuff in, but
yeah, I was going to say let's keep some of the dumb stuff in, right? Because then it looks a bit more authentic. But yeah.
Yeah. But like, you can be more relaxed. We can edit. And the thing is, like, obviously, we all know this. When you talk on Zoom, Teams, StreamYard, like we're doing now, it's not quite natural. Like you and I have to pause ever so slightly to make sure we're not talking over each other, so everyone can hear and all that kind of stuff. And it's just that's ever so slightly stilted. But
yeah, I agree. I've just done the exact same thing there for you. So yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So can you laymanize it? You said Xero wouldn't work for education to schools. I think schools, right, specifically.
Yeah.
Can you give like a short 1 minute, like why it doesn't work for Xero, and can you dumb it down for the non-accountants as well, if possible?
Yeah. So I mean, that's what we're all about, right? Is that most people in schools, for example, are non-accountants. So ultimately, there's certain requirements that are required by HMRC. So layman's terms, loads of schools fall outside of the scope of VAT. So they've got something called a VAT 126 report. Xero will not produce that for you because it needs the contacts VAT numbers in it. So you need to then kind of stitch together a few bits of information to get that. That was the primary bit. It's a real basic requirement, but then other things that Xero outside the box won't work for schools on is there's sector specific apps. So budgeting apps, for example, you really want them to be integrating the actuals from Xero into those budgeting apps. But again, Xero hasn't got an integration to those. You cannot get those apps to link directly to Xero because they will not develop just for a Xero API there. So we put the kind of intermediary in there as well. And the other bit, I suppose, is just around the ease of use. And this isn't really education specific, but Xero, one of the limitations that we find is that the permissions aren't that granular. So if you imagine at a school, schools have got groups, if you like. So there might be 10 schools in one multi-academy trust. And if I'm a maths teacher at school B, for argument's sake, then I want to be able to log in somewhere to just see my budget for my school B and for my maths there. So we can actually do that in our app. So
Yep.
it means that, and if you imagine that really different verticals now, but salesmen. So if you've got salesmen that you track in Xero using tracking for argument's sake, our app would actually work there nicely, where you could say, show the salesman everything he or she has done, and they can only see their bits as well. So it's quite powerful on those bits really.
That's actually pretty genius, to be honest, because that's one of the shortfalls of Xero with the tracking categories. You can only have like 2 overarching categories. You can have loads in between it, but 2 is not enough. And I know that's the same problem for charity reporting. Like you can do
exactly the
charity
same.
reporting in Xero, but you've got to do some jiggery pokery in the back end, and it's like
Yeah,
I was genuinely tempted to build something for charities. I was like, oh, I reckon I could do this. I reckon people might buy it. But
yeah, it's not for profits. I mean, that's kind of what schools are really, but it's more not for profits. So charities a bit more challenging in as much as they've normally got less funds ultimately. So they're not really normally they're getting by on quite manual work flows anyway as such.
Going to jump into the chat again. Mark Howson's here today. He's another friend of the show. He's been on twice. In fact, he saved an episode one time, by the way. So there's one time I went live, guest just didn't turn up. Fine, that happens. And I was talking for like 5 minutes, and then people realized how dull and uninteresting I am by myself. And Mark jumped in, and we started talking about whiskey. So Mark Howson, good afternoon, gents. Not had a good week, so hoping you guys are my turning point. I mean,
that's a pressure, isn't it? That one. It's although to be fair, he set us a low bar, hasn't he?
I assumed you were going to serenade him, Sam. I've heard you've got a lovely singing voice.
Yeah, it's I think that's probably one that I might have to record for you and then do a lot of editing. And definitely don't do live shows in person if you want me to sing.
I mean, I kind of threw that one at you. There was no, as people know, there's no prep for this show. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna have to ask you the legendary, the well-known biscuit question, Sam. If you were a biscuit, what kind of biscuit would you be that accurately portrays your personality? Why? But don't just pick your favorite biscuit.
Yeah, I won't pick a favorite biscuit because I actually just have gluten-free now, so it's lesser evils there anyway. In terms of what they actually are, but I'd probably go a chocolate digestive, probably because it's something that it hopefully is easy to. I was going to say easy to eat there. I'm going to retract that quite quickly because that's really weird. But yeah, it's
that's a blind date kind of answer.
Yeah, that's terrible. That is. But that's odd. Yeah, hopefully nobody comments.
Mate, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There are clips of me on the internet saying ridiculous things. Like, don't worry. You're fine.
Yeah, but no, I'd say chocolate digestive because people hopefully find it nice and easy to kind of get along with, and also it's, in my opinion, something that should be a staple in every household. Not saying I should be, of course, but I don't really know where I'm going with that. And there's obviously the fact that it's
make the bold statements. Make the bold statement and offend people. I had a manager once who told me, he said, Dale, you're going to offend somebody some of the time. You might as well be offensive all the time.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay, so you believe that every household should have chocolate digestives. Let's stand by that. So speaking of things a household should have, especially in our great nation, no sarcasm. Tea or coffee, Sam? What's your preference when you're drinking a hot beverage? If you drink hot beverages,
definitely tea.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 100%.
Okay. Any particular brand? Are you Thai food, PG Tips, something else? What tea you drinking?
Yorkshire tea. Actually, it's only 2 years ago somebody said to me, I can't remember who it was, but it might have been, I don't know if it's John Toon, actually, funny enough, but it was somebody who basically said, look, just try Yorkshire tea. I'd never tried it, and to be fair, I get the hype on it. I drink decaf, and I think it's probably the best decaf that I've encountered in terms of the Yorkshire tea stuff, really.
Okay, very important question. So if you've watched previous episodes, this came up because of Marcus Batson, Catherine Frimond, and a few others, right? When you are making your tea, what order are you doing the tea construction / making?
Oh, this is close to be honest, this is something you should ask people when you interview them, right? Because I'm quite passionate about how this should behave, or how it shouldn't. Yeah. So we've got so I think the clear thing for me is that I'll say how I think it should happen and how it definitely should not happen afterwards. But I think that it's got to be tea bagging first into that empty mug, then hot water. None of this kind of weird microwave crap that I've heard.
Americans do.
I think that's really odd. That's probably one of not great tea drinkers. But basically, hot water, let it brew, then take tea bag out before putting the milk on, so you nail the required strength.
Okay, if you have sugar, when does sugar go in?
After all of the above. So the very last step
Okay.
is the sugar, from
Yeah.
my perspective there.
This is where we respectfully disagree. So first of all, I'm going to say something very controversial. I don't like tea. I think it's overrated. I think we as British people drink it out of habit, but that's neither here nor there. I'm ready to be, excommunicated from the country for this. The difference we have is I think the sugar should go in first before the milk because the tea is hotter and the sugar will melt better, which I know is stupid because it will dissolve anyway, but that's how my brain
Yeah,
works.
it's interesting because actually, 15 years ago, a previous firm that I was in, that somebody put sugar into every tea regardless, and what they did is they let it settle, because then they said if people liked it, they'd then be able to stir their tea so they could taste the sugar. But if they didn't like it, then it would just appear at the bottom, which I don't think they quite understood that sugar dissolves. But
That's not how
it was
science works.
no,
Yeah.
I don't think it is, but it was fascinating nevertheless, and as a result, everybody ended up with sugar in their tea all the time, and yeah, caused a little carnage. But no,
What
I
if they're
think
making tea
that
for a diabetic person?
yeah,
You
I
can't
think
just put
you
sugar in
just
people's drinks.
yeah, I don't quite know. Well, you can evidently, but
You
apparently
shouldn't.
because they just don't drink the bottom of it, it's fine, right? So it's
Wait.
it's
Is
yeah.
someone in the office? Does that mean that someone is an accountant?
Well, I don't know if they made it. If I'm honest with you, as an accountant, I don't know if they made it in life.
No, it's just
I
because,
don't.
like, Sam, I don't know if you
Yeah,
know this, but for us muggles who aren't accountants, right, we kind of sometimes put some accountants on pedestals. We know you're super smart, kind of technical, we do things we don't
yeah.
understand. We're happy to pay you money just to fix problems, right?
Mhm.
And then when you told me there's someone who may have been an accountant
Oh,
who
honestly,
just didn't
it's
realize that sugar dissolves in tea, that's,
yeah,
you
it's
know what I mean?
to be fair, I've got a foot in both camps here though, because I'm a qualified accountant who now no longer does accounts, and I do all the fintech stuff as such. So it's I definitely think that accountants aren't necessarily the ones that are always on those pedestals in terms of common sense. I think very intelligent people don't always have the common sense that's required.
And not, I'm making this point not about what you just said. One of the reasons why I like you, Sam, is because you just did a humble brag and you didn't even realize it. You did. You weren't bragging, but you just, I used
Oh,
to be
the
an
whole
accountant.
yeah,
Now I'm a
he's
fintech. No, most people can't do that, Sam. And
yeah.
you're not arrogant about it. So respect you. Oh, look, Debbie Hales. Oh, sorry, Mark's back in the chat again. Yorkshire tea is the bomb. Mark agrees.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if his opinion counts because he's Scottish. So like, do we listen to him about tea? Like,
Uh,
just
yeah,
stirring, just
yeah. I think
stirring.
you're probably into iron brew and all sorts then, aren't you? But it's
In Scotland's defence, Iron Brew is banging, and I can understand why it outsells Coca-Cola in
oh, I'm the
Scotland.
opposite. No,
You don't like
I
Iron
don't
Brew?
care. But to be fair, I've never actually been to Scotland, so it's a bit like somebody told me Foster's in Australia is horrible or totally different, but I think it's horrible here anyway. So
No,
I don't
Foster's
quite
is
understand.
terrible here
Yeah, it's and
because
I
it's a
can't drink
terrible
it now because of
beverage.
the gluten, but yeah, it's something that yeah, I think regionally some things do actually taste different where you are in the world, don't they?
Yeah. Debbie Hale's also a friend of the show. She's been on a few times. She says, "Hi, all arrived in time for tea." Debbie, random question, and I should probably ask this when I have your guest. Does anyone ever call you Deborah? Just, just curious. You can tell me to mind my own business. Sorry, Sam. I'm supposed to be talking to you. You're the guest.
No,
Oh,
it's
there
fine.
you go.
It's
Sam. Does anyone call you Samuel?
It's not my name.
It's not your name. Are you
So
actually Sam?
I was Sam. I think my mum and dad made it nice and simple. No middle name, 7
Yep.
letters, Sam King. So in whatever year you learn to write, I was probably top of the class because I had 7 letters to remember
Yeah.
rather than anything else.
Okay.
It was easy. The only issue I had was I was and still am left-handed, so they couldn't read any of it because it smudges. But apart from that, it was good.
When I was in school, the school I went to made us use fountain pens, and my friend
Oh gosh,
Jeremy was left-handed, and it was just diabolical.
yeah.
Like
It's
I felt bad for him.
exams were the worst thing, and in terms of when I was doing my final ACCA exams and all those bits, it was just basically covered in like dark blue ink by the end of it. And I go home and my parents are saying, "What on earth have you been doing?" It's just an exam. That's it, really. And I feel sorry for whoever had to mark that paper because my handwriting was barely legible at the best of times. Well, it still is barely legible at the best of times.
Yeah. Now, I remember. So one thing going back to the fountain pen thing is I remember you could put the cartridge in and you could flick the pen. And so
Yeah,
like like sometimes my school shirts would come back looking like a Jackson Pollock. It was
yeah.
like, yeah.
Or
Parents
when
would
one
appreciate that.
explodes in your pocket, it's like you might be playing at lunchtime or whatever it is, and you've got those cartridges, and then all of a sudden
Hmm.
one explodes, and then you get home and you've not even noticed on some pockets, for example, and then you're like, oh my days, it's everywhere. I didn't care at the time, to be fair, but
No,
now
you
as a
didn't.
parent, I think, gosh, it's awful.
Yeah, as a kid, you didn't care. As an adult, you're like, why on earth would I have cartridges in my pocket? Why would they be
Yeah,
in that
it
pocket
doesn't
there?
make
Like,
sense, does it?
doesn't
Yeah,
make it. You wouldn't just leave them in your pencil case. Like, yeah.
yeah.
Debbie, only my mother when I haven't tidied my bedroom. Okay, no one calls her Deborah. Just good to know. Good to know. And no one calls you Samuel because that's not your flipping name. All right, good
No,
to know.
I just wouldn't listen to people. Well, I probably would actually, but yeah, it's no, nobody's ever kind of. I say nobody ever has. People have assumed it, and I correct them. No, I'm not a Sam. I'm a Sam. That's not my name.
Never assume. It's like sometimes I like to call people a nickname, right? But I check first, like, because you can't call someone a nickname. You don't know me like that, bruv. You get me?
Yeah,
You can't
yeah,
just be
exactly.
nicknaming people willy nilly. Um, Slightly personal question. I'll try and phrase it so it's like internet safe. I know that sometimes when we have our own children, we overcorrect for what our parents did, right? So if you had really mean, strict parents, sometimes you become more chill, and vice versa. Where your parents shorted you on your name, have you given your children illustrious long names?
um,
Like, 12 names.
yeah. So
Obviously,
so
maybe can't say the
I,
names
I
online,
I
obviously, but
won't
like
name
just
their but
yeah,
basically one of them, their name's not Elizabeth, but let's say I would call them Lizzie rather than Elizabeth, but my
yep,
wife very much know they're Elizabeth for argument's sake there.
yep,
So I call them by their shortened name, which I wanted them to be christened by,
yep.
but they're long. But then it's middle name, so definitely compensated where they've got two middle names. Partially that's to almost pay tribute to kind of both sides of the family with naming them after kind of previous family members, nans, etc. But as soon as we committed on the first one, having those two middle names, we had to really commit on the second one as well.
You do, you do.
So
You
it's a
can't,
bit of
because
a
that's if you don't do it, the second child feels completely unloved, right? That's
yeah,
the issue.
exactly.
Yeah,
Well, the first one does because they then got an absolute chore to write their name, for example. So it's
yeah.
but yeah, like it's one of those that you just think like just make it simple, and we everybody knows my eldest by her shortened name.
Mm.
Even now, my wife, so my mother and father-in-law, they always used to call her by a longer name because obviously my
Yep.
wife calls her by that. But now they've transitioned across, so I feel like I've certainly won the battles, I think now, but the war is probably still going on.
Yep. Yep. Again, Debbie's very active in the comments. Thank you, Debbie. It helps with views and such. So she says, collecting the cartridge balls in the top of your pen so you could rattle it and irritate teachers. Yes. Do you remember doing that, Sam? We are
Yeah,
showing
yeah,
our age right now because there's some kids right now
yeah.
who've only used
Yeah, what's that? Yeah,
they,
exactly.
they didn't even know barrel pens. Remember barrel pens or B-roll pens? Barrel pens, remember
The
those?
biro.
No, not like barrel.
Oh,
They were like these. There's basically you had them in primary school. They were orange pens and they had like this kind of
oh,
nylon nib, and they were
were
the worst
these?
to write with.
Were they the ones that, because in primary school, I remember that you used to write in pencil, and then when it was like some sort of special handwriting thing, they got the
Yeah,
pens, or it was almost like you presented with that. It was like a shrine. It's like this is now you're now ready for the pen
the
kind of
pen. Yeah,
thing, and then I think one or two even got withdrawn from using the pen back onto the pencil. It's the biggest insult, really. But
I
no,
remember
it's
those.
I remember those. Yeah, the ones that you only
They
ever
were
see them in
orangey,
primary schools, right? Yeah.
orangey red, only in
Yeah,
primary
red with a
school.
little like top thing, isn't it?
Little
It's
tiny
like
top. Yeah, barrel pens or
yeah,
B-roll
yeah,
pens, whatever you
yeah,
call them.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
what you mean. Yeah. That's yeah.
And if you think about it, they are horrible to write with. They're atrocious. They're like really scratchy and dry.
As
And
a left-hander as well, it's awful as well because they smudged. So
yeah,
it was because I believe that unless I'm making it up, but certainly in our school there was like handwriting, not exams, but you had like a handwriting book where you had to do all these things, and I don't know why, but yeah, it was something that was there, and you had to do that in pen and demonstrate you could write neatly, which I don't think I did actually demonstrate, if I'm honest.
I still don't write neatly at all. Sometimes I write stuff and I write notes. I'm not kidding you not. I have to decipher my own handwriting, which
I'm the same.
probably not a good sign.
I type
Ooh,
everything now. It's easier.
Debbie Hales again. My friend Joe uses her full name Joanna King for obvious reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit there are a few baby names names that you just got to avoid my surname. So there's obviously
Joe.
Joseph, Joanne, Wayne, a few other. I mean, if I had Spanish heritage, then
Juan.
yeah, exactly. That's it, right? So not too many, but it's quite funny that there's not funny really, but somebody who it's actually quite sad that basically their child had special educational needs, but
Mhm.
then their surname was years ago now. Their surname was Flan, so and then they literally named their daughter like cherry or cherry, so cherry flan, and you're thinking, oh my days, what I and there's others like there's one that I know as well who their surname's Shaw, and they name their boy Ewan. And then when they presented, this was years ago, I used to work with them, and when they actually said, name's Ewan, I goes, are you sure about that? They was like, yeah, I'm Ewan Shaw. I'm thinking, like, just say it out loud because it doesn't really, it just, yeah.
That's not just their fault. Do you know whose fault that is? The people around them.
Oh yeah, exactly. Nobody's
A
pointed
good,
that
a good,
out,
a
have
good,
they?
a good friend should have been like, "Have you thought this through?"
Yeah, it's well, we actually pulled up my brother-in-law's just had a child that's about 2 or 3 months old now, and the
Congrats.
name, they were obviously absolutely kind of knackered and what's not. And on the family group chat, they announced the name and all this stuff. And then we kind of pulled him up and says, is that how you're spelling it? And then they'd actually spelt it wrong accidentally in the group. And we thought it was, but you got to be careful nowadays because there's so many different variations of how names do and don't kind of flow off the tongue, so to speak. And also, it might be, the Welsh spelling is this or the whatever spelling's that. So you can't assume that it's just wrong, basically.
I mean, I didn't know my name was spelled wrong until I watched a Michael McIntyre bit. Are you familiar with Michael McIntyre?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
There's a bit where he just talks about like names being spelled wrong, and there's audience members participate in silly names. And I went, hang on a minute, my name is spelled wrong. Dayle is actually a pain. And obviously, my parents didn't have or think of the internet when they named me, but like having to do my email address all the time over the phone is just so annoying.
Yeah.
So
It's
annoying.
no, I mean, try being from Thornwood, right? You need to try to spell that out to everybody every single time. I much prefer like Smith and Co or something that's much easier. But it's
Yeah.
yeah, I hear the pain there. To be fair, it's definitely one of those.
We've also touched on something. We're going to go back a step. We're going to go back to the school days. Debbie's come in. My grandkids still say you have to get your pen license. So yeah, that's still a thing.
That sounds like that. Yeah.
And Elias, thank you for jumping in the chat, dude. In my school, they would force you to connect letters together because apparently it looked better. Or was that just me? I think yeah, you learn to write separate, and then you have to learn to write cursive. So
But
I
what?
remember that happening.
Yeah, but then finger spacing as well. I mean, what was that all about, really? Like, you'd end up with about 3 words per page. You used to have to literally do. And nowadays, you're never going to do that. It's mad, really.
I mean, actually, because my daughter's in school, there's some things they teach you to unteach you. So, example, she was taught to write and spell words with finger
Phonics.
spaces.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah,
We'll,
finger
we'll, we'll
spacing.
go we'll go to phonics
Yeah,
now
yeah,
with finger
yeah, yeah.
spaces. And now she's a bit older. They're like, no more finger spaces. You've got to do joined up writing. It's like,
It's
I
yeah,
understand that joined up writing is harder, but like she was like,
yeah.
Daddy, why did I have to do finger spaces and then do joined up writing? I was like,
Oh,
kid, I don't know.
it's
I don't know. I'm not an
no.
educator. I'm sure there's a reason why they do it that way. And
Yeah.
yes, phonics. Now, I've had this
Uh,
debate with a friend of mine. They insist that everyone did phonics when they're younger, and I was like, no, I chuffing didn't.
definitely.
It didn't happen in my school.
No, I think it's a relatively new method of. In fact, I'm pretty much certain it's a new method of teaching. And so much so that my daughter's just started reception, so
Hmm.
she's what 4 or 5 months into it now, and the teacher had to get all the parents into the room to explain to them and teach them the phonics. And
Same.
to be fair, it's absolutely bonkers when you say out loud that I can't remember, there's obviously 26 letters in the alphabet, but then there's about 58 different ways of pronouncing them that would make up 150 different sounds. And you think, gosh, that's complicated. Whereas in Spain, I think I can't remember what it was. Let's say 24 different letters with 26 different ways of saying them. So it's a lot more straightforward because the English language just doesn't really make sense. And it's, yeah, phonics, and they've just changed how they actually deliver that now. So they've gone from one method of delivering phonics to a different method when I don't understand how there's different methods. It's God knows how you keep up with it. And then you get tripped up all the time. Like a great example is the word wow. There's certain words, aren't there, that basically
OUGH. There's like 6 different
yeah,
pronunciations for
I mean,
OUGH.
scone as an example. Like I'm very much scone because it's cone with an S in front of it. But then I get that other people might say it's scone because you dropped the E on something. It's really weird how depending where you're from and how you've been brought up is how you say things.
Yeah. Well, I think some of it's dialectic, right? So literally, just wait, like you say, away from. And here's a controversial one. Some of it's class, isn't it? Right?
Yeah,
Some people say
can
things
be,
with
yeah.
a certain accent. A glass cut accent, very good. What?
That's
They say
definitely
things a
true. Yeah.
certain way. Yeah.
Mm.
We've touched on something. We're talking about education, but not zero
Yeah,
education.
yeah.
Sam, if there was a fictional character you could punch in the face and get away with it, no repercussions, who are you punching in the face?
Oh, there's two, I think. If that's allowed. So there's Bing. So Bing is like a little CBeebies kind of little
Okay. Little
bunny thing,
creature.
basically. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever come across Bing, but those who
Nope.
have, then I think it is one of the most whiny little things around. And if he doesn't get his own way, he has a strop and things, which isn't great for the kids to see. And the other one, I think Will Rush said this as well, is Peppa Pig. To be fair, not directly Peppa Pig, but just the fact that Daddy Pig is the most stupid thing in the world. Like it's banned. Well, where possible, it's banned in our house because it's in my opinion, a terrible thing for kids to look at. But there you go.
I concur. So Will Rush was on last week. He said the same thing. Peppa Pig. I agree. I had godchildren, so had hung out with kids before I had my kid. Watched Peppa Pig and went, I'm never letting my child watch that. Phoebe
Yeah,
has never watched Peppa Pig, really, not with me
yeah.
anyway. Yeah, yeah,
No,
fair enough.
the thing that's a bit trippy as well is that like our girls they pretty much never watched it because it's not. I think it's on Milkshake, so they don't really watch that when they watch CBeebies normally. And the only thing is CBeebies, they've got like a Welsh version of Peppa Pig, and then you think, oh my days, if it's not bad enough already, now it's a language that nobody really understands, and it's just kind of the messaging is the same, right? But it definitely, as a father, I think it's definitely kind of attacking dads out there in terms of how stupid and things they are.
Yeah,
Whereas
how bumbling they are.
Bluey is like, in my opinion, god territory when it comes to kind of
Oh,
cartoons. I'd watch that by myself.
Bandit sets a
Oh,
standard that
the
no
bar
father
is,
can
yeah.
follow.
You're never going to reach out, are you? Yeah.
And between you and me, Sam, I'm not going to lie. Confession time, I have watched Bluey by myself because the
Same.
episodes are actually
Yeah.
pretty decent. Like, it's actually
Yeah.
a pretty
Oh,
decent show.
I
Like,
was talking to my team about it, and they just don't get it because none of them are parents at the moment. And I say honestly, when you get there, you will be delighted. Out of all the things to watch, when your children say, "Can we watch Blue?" But oh, go on then.
yeah,
Then you watch 5, 6 episodes before you know it, and you're laughing, and the kids are going, "I don't understand why they're laughing," but they just laugh because you're laughing. It's
yeah,
it's god tier in my opinion in terms of
it's very
right,
good.
it's up there.
Another one that you should try then, if that's the case, when your girls are a little bit older, Teen Titans Go. Okay,
Teen
I'd
Titans Go.
recommend 5 or 6. They can appreciate it. Basically, this is how good the show is, right? It's silly, old school cartoon humor with toilet humor, right? Love it. Tom and
Yeah.
Jerry style, all that kind of stuff. Fine. There's an episode where they do a reference between Star Trek and Star Wars. I loved it. Phoebe loved it.
Yeah.
Phoebe's never seen Star Trek or Star Wars,
Yeah.
but like they write it in a way that's just so incredibly
Mm.
clever. I'm going to jump back in the chat again, Sam. You're being an awesome guest, by the way, because let me jump in the chat.
No,
Debbie Hales, what do you call the ends of a loaf? The crust.
crust. Yeah.
Debbie, what do you call the ends of a
I
loaf?
don't know if that's true, unless it's an L and an F or something. She's trying to be clever. I don't know, but
No.
it's yeah.
Or maybe
That.
like I talked about class and different pronunciations.
Oh
Maybe
right, okay. It's the
maybe rich
crust.
people call it something else.
Unless it's what is it? Some people call it. Some people. It's obviously it's like the roll thing, isn't it? A cob and all those bits. But
A
no,
bap, a
it's just a
roll, a cob.
crust, isn't it? Yeah.
There's a crust. I feel like everyone calls it a crust. Debbie, what do you call the
Yeah.
ends of a
I mean,
loaf, Debbie?
I'm intrigued as
Sorry,
well
Debbie.
now. To be fair.
I just called her Deborah. My bad. Sorry, Debbie. This stream is not what I was expecting. Thanks, Elias. I mean, again, this
That makes 3 of
stream,
us. Or 2 of us.
this stream used to be very serious. We used to ask Sam questions about accounting, about finance. We'd ask him about sales techniques. We'd ask him about fintech. We'd ask him how to scale and grow a business and all that stuff, right? No one watched it. No one cared. Now, if I ask him stupid questions, people watch it. So, okay, Debbie's in the chat again. Sorry.
No. This is
Some call it the heel. Some people are wrong.
the heel.
We'll clip that right up.
Yeah, that's an odd one. That is.
Yeah, that's wrong. Yeah.
I
I mean, I used to work at McDonald's, and the bottom of the burger bun was called the heel, and top was called the crown.
Okay.
Which kind
That
of
feels like that should be a Burger King kind of thing, shouldn't it? The crown, but yeah.
Yeah, no, McDonald's too. Sam, we should probably ask you a serious question now, shouldn't we?
Go for it.
What irritates you the most about fintech suppliers, providers,
Oh,
vendors, as it were?
what irritates me the most about this is a shared irritation, right? Because I don't think it's just on the fintech suppliers and vendors really, but
Hmm.
I'm going to go that they don't spend enough time really understanding what their audience is and what it should be. And just to kind of expand that out, there's some fantastic products that are out there coming out, etc. But they don't take time to realize that they don't need to go broad brush. So they can really not just niche, but go into something that is more specific for what they're good at, basically. So over the years, there's been certain apps that they've doubled down on what they're good at. So you've got the Approval Max that nailed the approval side of things. You've then got the Mayday doing the recharges and all those things. Don't get me wrong; they all kind of eventually do a few other bits, but when apps try to do too much, it drives me absolutely bonkers because I then kind of think, well, short of you building whether it's a QuickBooks Online Xero or Sage competitor, you're going to end up in kind of basically doing all the functions apart from the final accounting, which almost defeats the object of then somebody link it to a finance system. So I think it's probably that, and I think that's because there's so much pressure on just trying to sell the licenses, and I do think this is also a responsibility of the consumers as well, though, to do their
Preach.
homework.
Preach.
So they really need to make sure that if they're operating for a certain client, just because client A it doesn't work for doesn't mean it won't work for client B, and vice versa. I think that there's far too many people out there who they might advise on what softwares to use based on what they know, but they don't do enough scoping to really understand exactly where things should be. And I feel also that they don't do enough due diligence with the vendors to understand, well, actually, should this be a good fit for you as well?
You need to go speak to Zoe Lacey Cooper at Alternate
Okay.
Events. She had me
Yeah.
on stage for one of her things, and I went on a rant about this. And I use myself as an example. And hear me out. Just because I have an opinion on an OCR software or a particular type of software, and I've done vetting review for Creston Reeves or wherever, and I've
Yeah.
assessed our needs, and I like it, and I don't like so and so, I might come online and say that, but don't just take
Yeah.
my word for it. What I like
Exactly.
out of this particular software
Yeah.
might not fit your niche. It really might not. So you should
Yeah.
right, take my word and advisement. Great, I do know what I'm talking about, but also be like, actually, Dale, we need these 3 features that this one doesn't have, and they're similar, but we need these 3
Yeah.
features. Do that, and it doesn't take that long. And then back to your point about vendors, some of them need to be better at sales because I will serve up my brief on a platter. I'll say, look, I need this, this, and this. Can it do this? This is roughly the budget. And some of them don't even come back to me, which is absurd. I make sales so easy.
Oh,
It irks me.
it's. I think you're an anomaly there though, because most of them feel like they have to oversell when actually the best sale is to just demonstrate it can be done, really. But just going back to I think what you're referring to there is knowing when it's not a fit or knowing when to say no. And we've had a couple of schools and trusts for us who said we need to do this, this, and this, and there's a real odd thing they're doing compared to what most of the clients do. And we've actually said go and speak to iPlicit because I think that would be a better match for you, as an example, because I think that actually builds more credibility and ultimately makes life a bit easier for you in terms of down the road, because at the end of the day, it's your team that's going to have to deliver that ultimately.
Sorry about this, Sam. This happened when I was with Josh the other week. For some reason, my I assume you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
My camera's decided to stop working. I'm gonna just bear with me. Just bear with
No,
me.
no problems.
I'm gonna remove myself. Hold down the fort for like 10 seconds, Sam.
Okay.
Talk to me.
Yeah. Please, anybody add comments or questions if you wish, I guess. Yeah. Oh, he's already joined back, so I don't need to worry about
I'm
that too
back,
much.
but like I don't know where my
Well, the camera's gone.
camera's gone. Like, what's it saying?
What's going on with
bear
that?
with me.
It's,
I need some hold music. That's what I need. Some hold.
yeah, HMRC hold music. A lot of people understand that, wouldn't they? But
no one likes it. That's for sure.
no, that's true. To be honest, yeah, HMRC hold's awful. I'm just still amazed at the heel thing. I've never heard of that. To be fair, yeah, spent days immersed in assessing systems. Sorry, Deb, I'm just reading your chat. I know Dale can put it on the screen. I can't do that, but Only to the sub. Oh, there you go. He's done it. So spent days immersed in assessing systems only to establish they don't quite fit my client needs. Frustrating, but yeah, it is necessary, isn't it? And my take on it is quite simple. That's not really wasted time, because then the next time you know what not to do, and also knowing that actually if it does fit for your client's needs, there might be another client who they know, or somebody to kind of obviously support you along the way there, really. Asbestos, interesting. So we actually we've got a client who uses asbestos for the survey and stuff as well. I can't remember the name of the system they use, but there weren't that many out there. I believe that was born through somebody's frustration with what they were using. So they do a lot of environmental bits in terms of water testing for Legionnaires, and they do asbestos reviews and all those bits. And the software they use is very much geared towards those people going out and doing that. So it links to Xero, because we had a bit of jiggery pokery to make sure it did link, but it didn't at the time. So it's yeah, something that I won't say I'm well rehearsed in, but certainly something that is quite interesting as well. And I've no idea where Dale's gone now. He must be somewhere in the background, because he put that thing up on the screen, I'm guessing, which is pretty clever, to be fair. But yeah, I'd love to know how to remove those things, but I'm not smart enough on that. Flow Mobile for surveying. Dale's here about having technical difficulties. Yeah, Flow Mobile. That's I've never heard of that, to be fair. It's that's the beauty about what we do there, right? Is that I'm part of a couple of groups, and people put weird and wonderful things on there and go, well, actually, this is perfect for that particular vertical, or this is, from my experience, is good, but you still need to kind of still vet it, I feel, on those sides, really, because if you don't, you're going to be struggling with the bits there. ESG, so it doesn't really factor in greatly in terms of the requirements there. So if you do actually look at Academy accounts, there's about 58 pages on there. So it's all from, I don't know, people rates and people numbers and what they're doing, the core value, sustainability, all those bits. But I wouldn't say it's a huge factor at the moment, but it's something that is certainly it's always on the radar for schools, because obviously they're trying to do the best for environment in particular, and trying to get that into the sort of looking for the syllabus for people as well, which is also the nerd in me loves the fact that schools have now got financial management in the syllabus as well.
Sam, you are a star. Thank you.
I was rambling.
I'm going to explain to everyone what happened, right? So it's happened in the past where the camera just drops off, and I can fix it. This time, it gave me the option to stop mic and cam, which I was like, okay, I'll give that a go. I couldn't re-add the microphone and camera, so I had to like reload this page. And thank you so much for doing with that. Is this the one you're answering? Marcus's question: does ESG play a part in reporting? Yeah. We'll pop it on so people can see it.
And then we were talking about
asbestos?
about asbestos stuff. Yeah.
Well, Debbie's in the chat. We're going to talk about asbestos at some point. That's going to happen.
Well, I've no idea, to be fair, but yeah, it's but yeah, it's something that it's something I don't know the name of the app off the top of my head now, but it will. I'll look later and maybe pop it in the comments or something. To be fair, I don't know what's going on with Dale's bit here.
I have no idea. I assume you can still hear me. You just can't see.
Yeah. That's fine. I'm glad that you're here, still in mic anyway, which is the main thing.
I'm still in mic. I'm still controlling stuff. You can't remember what it's called, I suppose. Is that a question to you, Sam?
Yeah, I've answered that in terms of I can't basically, but I padded it up because you disappeared.
All right. Guess what? I'm going to disappear again. Be right back.
Yeah, that's fine. I might do a bit of research to try and remember what it's called, because it'll be easy enough. So now you get a live research of what an app's called. Is it Tracker? It might be called Tracker, actually. Alpha Tracker? Yeah, is it Alpha? It might be called Alpha Tracker. Yeah, Alpha Tracker it's called, Debbie. I don't know if that means anything to you or not. It's probably the software you built, I imagine now. But yeah, it's Alpha Tracker is what it's called.
Hello, I'm back. And now you can't even see my face. It's just like a camera not working symbol, isn't it? Do you know what's really annoying? This is the first time I've asked people to go to Patreon and pay money for this show, and it's not working. Like, what are the odds of that?
Yeah, they're going to say that maybe it might need investment though as a result, right? They might say that, I don't know, upgrade the laptop or whatever. But no,
No, the laptop's fine. I've just for some reason that the camera decided to stop working.
it's weird, isn't it? Yeah, it's all
Very weird.
glitches.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I said Alpha Tracker to be fair, Debbie. So yeah, it is Alpha Tracker that they use basically.
Cool. Sam, thank you for holding down the fort.
Nice.
I realise I've asked you lots of questions, and you've done an amazing job of holding down the fort. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, where can you buy a new laptop? No, no, it's I guess what's your current kind of thoughts on, I wouldn't say AI, but there's been a mini kind of almost like collapse, I guess, with Genesis. I don't know if you're aware of that, with
Yes, I'm aware.
that, and then there's also the bot keeper or whatever it's called, which I guess what's your view on all those bits? It just seems a bit of a it seems almost like going against what we're all believing on. Well, not believe, we're all led to believe on AI and it's going to take over the world, etc., etc., which I don't believe that quite. But yeah, what's your take on it, Dale, in terms of
So,
what it looks like?
to clarify, are you asking me what I believe about AI in general, or those particular businesses not working anymore?
Not general. I think it's more around. I'll probably narrow it down to the fintech side of things about while speculating here, why Genesis, they've lost their major backers, lost that confidence, for example. And I don't know the answers to that, and also just kind of the fintech as well in terms of um, how do you think that these vendors are actually going to go about selling that to firms in
Yeah.
particular?
Okay.
Because I feel that's a really interesting area to cover off.
Okay. I'll start with AI/fintech in general, and this is a stance I've had for a while now. I said it before and I say it again. The concern is that AI will replace accountants or bookkeepers, or push prices down because the consumer will know it's been done by AI. And my answer to that is accountants and bookkeepers will be charging for assurance, right? Because I don't think, and it might happen in the future, but I don't think any particular provider or supplier right now is going to build an AI function, an agentic AI or any other version, LLM, and take full liability or responsibility for what that AI produces, whether it's advice, whether it's numbers. You're always going to want a person, for now, to say that is correct. And that's what you're paying the accountant for. You're not paying them because instead of it taking 3 hours, it takes them 10 minutes now. You're paying them for the 10 minutes to go, that is correct. That's what you're paying for. So it's not going to replace AI accountants or bookkeepers anytime soon. As to why certain companies have gone under, well, we saw it with cloud stuff, right? People made software, put the word cloud on it. It got valued really highly. Did it actually work or sell that well? Probably not. And people went, oh, well, it's not doing as much as we hoped just by sticking the AI badge on it. I'm not saying that's what Genesis did, but
I know.
so
I think
the bubble, so to speak, will burst, and we saw it with cloud stuff. Xero came out and changed the market. They weren't even the first, by the way, but they're the ones everyone knows. And then people started throwing cloud into everything. And then
it went from cloud. Then the buzzword was advisory for firms, and as well, and it is the buzzword. And if you put AI in any basically title or a name now of what you do, then people just assume that it does AI stuff. When I do feel one of the most passionate things I have about AI is that a lot of people have no idea what AI actually is compared to what automation is, because to me, a lot of people they say, "Oh, this does this." Oh, you're back. So
back.
this does this like AI, and all it is really is I don't know, an office flow that goes bang, 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 bang. It's an automation. So I think that a lot of people are still quite green to that. And as a result, I feel that because they're green to it, they're going to be less likely to adopt some of those solutions because they don't really understand it.
I think it depends on what industry you're in as well, though, because I've got friends who are proper full stack, front end or back end full stack developers, right? And they explained to me in 2 years the difference it makes But it does also prove my point. And I'll give an example.
Yeah.
Back in the day, programmer developer would have to code manually, type in the syntax to make stuff work, and it could take them a day to do that. When AI first came out from an LLM 2 years ago, they'd say, do this in Python, and it would write a script, and it was passable but rubbish.
Yeah.
Now you can actually write a script, and it is in 10 minutes, and it's written you a very complex thing.
Oh,
And it's 98% accurate. But here's the assurance part I mentioned before. It takes the programmer to know which part is redundant code and which part is code that actually works. Or even in some cases, security. And I know a front end developer may not think about that too much, but they will know actually I can't leave this open because that's going to create a bit of a loop. So that's where, again, the point I made about assurance coming in now. So that's happening more rapidly in the development world. And again, the major threat, I guess, is AI is self-correcting. But I think we will always want a person to check it. And going one step further, I'll get off my soapbox in a minute, Sam. My logic is this as well. If I am a software developer and I'm developing AI and I say it's all singing, all dancing, and I say I'm willing to take all the liability, which insurer is going to insure me for that, right?
Yeah.
The reason why ICAEW exists or ACCA exists is they are governing bodies and regulate things. And if you don't have that, no insurer, Swiss Re, Zurich, these big companies, Aviva, they're not going to touch you. Because you've got to make a very bold claim. They're like, well, we're not going to win to put the risk, so they won't get the insurance, I don't think. Now, hear me out. In 10 years' time, if a massive company like Google or Microsoft said, we are going to build an AI accounting tool and we have the money to back it and willing to take that risk, they might do it. But that's a very big risk.
Yeah, I agree. It's also the developer thing's really interesting because we have been using AI not for the code we have, but for checking code, and also it's what it's fantastic for is the whole so for me, I'm not a developer, but I can use it's lovable that there's a few different ones that you basically put the prompt to generate and that you can mock up prototypes of what things could look like very quickly, and then the developers then spend the hard graft actually doing it. But it's much easier to then identify, well, actually what should good look like for what we're trying to achieve here, and you can do even some market testing on it before it even goes anywhere, which is certainly powerful. But I think that all it should be doing, in my opinion, is making us more efficient in terms of how we arrive at our human decision still. And who knows what happens in years to come. It should get better and better, right? But I struggle to see a world where you might end up with half the kind of team members at accountancy firms that were there before, but I don't see the client numbers reducing too much as a result of that, in my opinion.
Got another one as well, taking this to another level. I think some of the big top 5, top 10 firms where they've gotten rid of their junior staff for AI have made a very big mistake.
Oh, was it KPMG where it's something ridiculous, like they took, I'm just making the numbers up now, let's say they took 4,000 trainees on the year before, it's now only 1,000, so it's like 25% of the number, because they don't really see the value in that, where it makes sense in terms of right now in terms of, well, actually, short term, but where's the bloodstream go? It's just going to die. And it's the only positive is the smaller firms then probably get maybe on paper higher caliber candidates coming to them. But it's I think it's a short-termist view. Yeah, I agree. And if they're doing that, they might as well just go full in on AI audits and what's not, and barely have a human get involved in it, which is scary. And just on a lighter note, I guess, is what's your views on like phones, for example? So what I mean by this is that I've got an Android phone. So if I say, I won't say Nexus next to me, but the OK Google and all that sort of stuff, it then comes to life. So my view, and call me the kind of paranoid about this, but they're always listening, because if they're not always listening, how do they know when those words are said, if that makes sense?
Correct.
So what's your thoughts on that?
I agree. I don't have an Alexa because I don't want listening. I know my phone does it because you say those magic words and it will ping up. I don't like it always listening. And you know how we know it's always listening? You can go to the pub with your friends.
Yeah, I know.
And talk about something, and then suddenly
I know where you go on Facebook or whatever it is.
Facebook ads of what you've just been talking about.
I was talking to somebody about prams, right? So he was basically got a newborn child and talk about prams, and all of a sudden I was looking, going, well, that's a bit odd, isn't it? And our developer was adamant that they don't listen all the time. I was like, it must do, because if it's not, then how on earth has that happened? And it happens too many times, unless obviously we've all lived this life before, and somebody's just one step ahead of us and all those bits.
Or
That's
little things
tricky.
as well, like this isn't AI, but location settings, right? I think you have it turned off, but you know your phone still pings a location. And I know this because I've been out with on dates, for example, right? Someone I met for the first time, and then suddenly they come up as a Facebook friend person. It's like, well, I'd never met this person before,
Yeah, but
but
they know
suddenly we
you're in the
met,
same.
and,
Yeah,
and now they're in the
exactly.
same place. It's like it's absurd.
Yeah, it's
So yeah, there is that.
no, it's bonkers, but we're all getting trapped one way or the other. And is it what film's it? It's the oh god, the Kingsman. It's either the first or second one where basically somebody rattles off in one of the scenes all the data they know about the bad guy, basically about we know this, we know that, and almost try to bribe them.
Is that the one where Samuel L. Jackson's the bad guy? Kingsman, the third one, second or third one, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
he's the bad guy.
and in that, I'm sure they nail him in terms of, well, actually, all these, and it's really weird where all the people's heads explode and things. It's a bit odd there, but
Yes, that is it.
but it's yeah, basically they all of a sudden start rattling off all these facts about, well, we know you're cheating on your wife, we know you're doing this or that, blah blah blah, and they've got all the data in the world, and you just go, Christ, how much is that worth to these really powerful people? Which we're not going to go there in terms of other bits in the news, because we all know that there's very controversial things going on.
Well, they're listening now. We can't say it. We might get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
all right,
it.
Sam. We've been serious for too long. You've answered Debbie's questions. You hosted the show for a while. If I made money from this, I'd pay you, but I don't. So thank you for that. Got to ask you a silly question, Sam. I presume you are an omnivore or a carnivore, correct? You eat all the foods apart from gluten.
Yep.
If you had to eat one meat/animal for the rest of your life, forsaking all others, what meat/animal are you choosing?
Good question. Probably going. Well, I'm going to say pig, just because of the pork, which can then be sausages, bacon, obviously pork chops, etc. Probably that. I've actually got chickens as pets, so I couldn't possibly say chickens. Although I do eat chickens.
Also, we've established you don't like Peppa Pig, so that's you getting revenge. Or...
Yeah, that's it, right? It's if it's a Peppa Pig, then definitely. But no, it's yeah, it's probably pork.
But you have chickens as pets, as in
Yeah,
egg-laying chickens, or just actual the chickens?
Yeah. So four hens basically. They do lay eggs.
Do chickens make good pets?
Yeah, they're pretty loyal, to be fair to them. It's good. They're great for the kids as well in terms of understanding whether they actually do look after them is another thing, but they chase them around the garden. But yeah, it's good.
Well, you said they're 4 and 2, so no, they do no looking after whatsoever, right?
No, exactly. they look, but not maybe to look after. So, and they quite enjoy picking them up and stuff. But they're so placid. They're only like little peking bantam things, but they're great, to be fair. It makes me sound really affluent and all those bits. It's not the case. They're just backyard chickens, basically. But
if you think about it, it makes you sound frugal. You've purchased some hens. They occasionally give you eggs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then
I assume you feed them
homemade
like
cakes,
corn or something. I don't know, like basic stuff, right? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, chicken food basically is the easiest way of putting it, right?
And you're an accountant, so I can only imagine you've probably worked out how much feed you have to buy, how much you have to feed them, and the return on investment on the eggs you get.
No, don't be stupid. It's
that's what I would do.
I'm worried that HMRC are going to be calling me now and going, "How many eggs you selling?" And it's like, well, none. We're lucky to have 2 eggs a day from them, to be fair, at the moment, but especially at the moment because it's winter time. But yeah, it keeps you busy, to be fair. It's good.
I have a funny egg-related story. You want to hear it?
Yeah, go for it.
So, as you know, not an accountant, but have worked in accounting firms. I've picked up a few things, right? I actually had a client ask me an accounting question. They were like, Dale, so yeah, if we were to buy an office chicken, could it be a benefit in kind for staff? I was like, explain yourself. They were like, well, the chicken could be therapeutic. I was like, I don't think that's going to be allowed. Also, the chicken could provide eggs, and that's like a lunch benefit for staff. I was like, there's no way you can buy your personal chicken, put it through your business, and call it a benefit in kind for staff. That's not a thing. You can't do that.
I don't understand where the benefit in kind bit comes
I don't know. They were like, it's a benefit, some kind of work benefit or like bonus. I was like, no staff member is going to appreciate that. And HMRC is not going to allow you to randomly procure chickens and have them in your office. I was like, no. And then, you don't know, you're not an accountant. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this one.
Yeah, I mean, let's ignore that stuff. Let's just try to work out the logistics of doing that anyway, because chickens, like everything else, they poo. So I don't know where you're going to keep it or whatever. It's a bit like going back to the schools, isn't it? The pet. So not many schools now, I think, have like I think we have a school dog, but not many have like a school pet. Whereas when I was younger, it used to be like a gerbil or a guinea pig. I never understood having a hamster because it's only awake at night. But it's those sorts of things that you don't really see it now. But it's certainly never come across that in terms of somebody asking, we've talked about office like fish and things like that. But again, you're kind of like, well, who's going to come in and clean it? Who's going to do this or that? It's a bit, but yeah, an office chicken is benefiting kind. That's weird, isn't it?
They're like, it's going to be some like kind of tax thing. I was like, there's no way you can claim that in any way, shape, or form.
But even if I don't understand, but chickens aren't that I just don't understand the whole logic there. I mean, they must be desperate in terms of what they're doing. But I mean, yeah, some accountants maybe aren't as sharp as what we're led to believe. Let's say.
Again, that was a client asking me, thinking I was an accountant. Well, not they know I wasn't, but like it was bizarre.
Weird.
Sam, you've been awesome. We've got like a few seconds left, as it were. Actually, we can run for a bit. Do you have any questions for me before we head off?
Not really, to be fair. No. I think it's it's been a joy, to be fair. It's gone really quick.
Yeah, thank you, man. You saved the show. Much appreciated. Thank you for being on. Debbie, Elias, Marcus, other people in the chat and watching. Thank you for watching. As you can tell, I need to up my budget. Please support FM on Patreon. It's really cheap, but I just need a new camera. Maybe that'd be great. I'm gonna hit end stream and we're gonna roll out. Thanks.
Cheers.